Hey, Sean.
Hi, gentlemen. How are you guys?
Good. Hey, you were our first caller at the church hall on our live launch day, weren't you?
That's correct.
I
Yes.
remember you, Sean.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
My question is, a few days ago, the New York Times, a so-called newspaper of record, printed a full-page ad sponsored by an anti-religious organization entitled, "It's Time to Quit the Catholic Church."
Oh, yes.
Included in this ad was not only slanderous statements and outright lies about our faith,
Yes.
but a cartoon caricature of a Catholic prelate that seriously reminded me of the cartoon pictures I remember seeing in history that took place in Europe prior to the Holocaust, the anti-Semitic ones.
Yes.
Now, we know as Christians we are being singled out because later a different organization tried running an ad entitled "Why Quit Islam," in which
that's
the
right.
Times refused to
They
print.
would not run it.
Now,
Shocking.
as Christians, how should we go about confronting Catholic bashing like this?
Yeah. Well, I think you're doing it right now, Sean, by shining a light on it. And I think first and foremost, that's what we need to do is expose this stuff. You know, we've got to let people see. If we don't stand up and speak, because listen, Sean, as you're saying this, we have untold hundreds of thousands of people all over the United States right now that are listening to us and are saying, "You've got to be kidding me. They're doing this?" Some people are learning about this. It's so egregious. It's so outrageous, the double standard and the way Catholicism is just being persecuted. I mean, I'll throw out another example. Piers Morgan, who has a late-night television sort of news interview show. I think he's on CNN, is it?
Yeah.
I forget
yes,
which.
Yeah, he's sort of the de facto successor to Larry King.
Right,
He's
right.
a mixed up Catholic. shall
Oh,
we say.
yeah, he's a mess. But he outright comes out and says, you know, when he interviewed Kirk Cameron about homosexual marriage, if you are not in favor of homosexual marriage, you are a bigot. And he comes out and says it. So all Catholics who are practicing Catholics in union with the church, you are a bigot. The Pope, bigot. All the bishops in the United States, bigots. This is what's going on. And we've got to shine a light on it and say, look, people, listen, even if you are a radical left-winger or whomever you are, can you see what is happening here? That people are being persecuted simply for saying what they believe. This is my religious belief. This is my belief when it comes to natural law, not even talking about Catholicism, but I believe homosexual actions are contrary to natural law. You know, we don't need a Bible to tell us this. And yet, if you say that, you are a bigot, you are belittled, and more, it's coming from the biggest bully pulpit in the United States, and that is from the White House and the administration. More and more are setting the stage for anyone who disagrees with them to be subject to the Bill Maher kind of nonsensical attacks. And so we've got to shine a light on it. You know, I am one who believes in boycotts. Absolutely. I do. I believe that, you know, when companies come out and do things like this, I will boycott. But most importantly, I think it's us shedding light on it. It's shouting it wherever we can. It's being bold. It's standing up and being proud of our Catholicism, proud of what we believe in, and we've got to be willing to take the hits. We got to be willing to stand up and say, you know, marriage is between one man, one woman. It goes back to Adam and Eve, long before there was the United States of America. We're talking about what all of the religions of the world have believed for 5,000 years. I mean, we're not the extremists here. And I think if we shed light on this and we preach it, we shout it from the rooftops and everywhere we go, I think more and more reasonable people are going to be able to make the right conclusion. I think the bottom line is we have been quiet the last 40, 50 years. We have been silent. And now the sleeping giant, I believe, Patrick, is beginning to awake.
As Canada, so the rest of the world, in some ways. I'm thinking of evangelical pastor Stephen Boisson up in Alberta.
Yes.
Was forbidden from expressing his moral opposition to homosexuality by this, kangaroo court called the Alberta Human Rights Tribunal. Sounds cuddly, doesn't it?
It does.
Now, after 7 years, he was acquitted, but that's 7 years of his time, anxiety, bandwidth, money, and so on.
That's right.
So we have to get out of our slumber. Our deep sleepwalk days are over.
And if I could add this, how many times have we heard, and I know we're getting away from the caller's actual question, but I think all of these things are related. But we've all heard the myth that how is allowing this man to marry this man over here, what does that have to do with you? How is that affecting you? And that's the way it's been portrayed forever. Mm-hmm. You are a bigot trying to keep these two men or these two women from marrying when it has nothing to do with you. But we're learning today, aren't we, exactly what all of us have been shouting for years now, is that when you change the law on the nature of marriage, what comes next is then what you can say and what you can't say about marriage. What comes next is what's taught in schools, what's allowed to be taught in schools, what you're allowed to say, and the state police coming down on you when you contradict. And what will their cry be? Well, it's legal. It's legal, so you can't say that.
Right. As Cardinal O'Connor used to say, the law is the great teacher.
Yes.
Sean in Temecula, good man, good call. Thanks for joining us once again. It's 14 after the hour, running a little late on our first break here on Catholic Answers Live, doing what we do best, taking calls from everywhere on everything to do with the Catholic faith. Everything's fair game. Tim Staples is up for the task. The toll-free number to reach him is 1-888-318-7884. We're being filmed today by our in-studio cameras for later YouTube broadcast. We'll be edited, sliced, and diced, and hopefully they'll use some Photoshop on Tim's face, and it'll be great for everyone concerned. Catholic Answers Live continues after these words. Don't go away.